All right, board fam, if you thought last week was Mask Off, then this week must be the director's cut of The Grift, the extended version, the bonus scenes, maybe even the after credit scene. This clip that we're about to watch is a gold mine, exposing them in ways I could not have begged for. I'm not kidding you. When I tell you this video gives away everything, it's not hyperbole. We're going to watch a video here. This is from Friday Night Tights this past Friday, where the panel is talking about the criticism that if they don't like something or they're tired of something, they shouldn't watch it. Now, I don't care if you agree or disagree with that sentiment. I've heard different opinions about it, but it spirals. The conversation spirals, and let's just watch the clip.
Real quick, Garrett, you put up a post a couple of days ago concerning people telling us not to watch the movies. So these are my favorite. This is an argument we've heard for 8 years. I talked about it last night. Went a little bit off on it. Okay, a little bit. And the fact of the matter is, you do what you like. All right, you do what you like. As far as supporting things or boycotting things, I'm not here. And boycotts are gay. Okay, they generally don't work.
Gay is a pejorative. I just want to point that out. It's stupid. There's a million other ways to get that point across without saying that. But of course, these guys, it's always something, isn't it?
Unless it's like something egregious like Bud Light when they do something absolutely against their brand. That's not a...
What's funny about the Bud Light thing, we're not going to spiral into that, but the funny thing about the Bud Light situation is it was like a 30-second influencer brand deal. That's all it was. But Bud Light had been sponsoring Pride events for a decade or more at that point. So it's like all performative. Like you saw a trans person do a 30-second influencer clip, but you ignored a decade of Bud Light being allies, capitalistic allies, but still allies nonetheless. It's pretty pathetic.
Boycott. That's people just genuinely being pissed. But when it comes to discussing the oddest...
Wait. Hold on. You're saying that the Bud Light backlash wasn't a boycott. It was just people being pissed. And when they were pissed, what did they do? They boycotted Bud Light. Now, I'm not saying whether it was effective or not. Like, that's not my argument. But that's what happened. They were pissed off, so they personally boycotted Bud Light. Are you really pushing back against that being a boycott?
Light when they do something absolutely against their brand. That's not a boycott. That's people just genuinely being pissed.
Oh, okay.
But when it comes to discussing the Odyssey, well, if you're discussing it, I would argue if you want to have an informed opinion, you can watch it or you don't discuss it. It's a choice. And you're free to discuss it without watching it, but you won't have an informed opinion.
Okay. We're going to pause there for a second. I don't disagree with this. I actually agree with this. Right? I agree with this standard. If you're going to review a movie, then watch the fucking movie. My issue is not that standard. My issue is when the standard magically shows up weeks after the pre-release panic, outrage, flop watches happened. Right? Like you guys spent months trashing the movie before you saw it. That's why we're here. That's the whole point. You don't need an informed opinion. You guys make all of your money prior to the movie coming out. You were complaining about castings, red carpet, earned media spots, trailers, Elliot, Lapita, Travis, modern audience, all of that before you saw the movie. So seeing the movie for your audience is actually unnecessary. I would argue they don't even care because they supported you prior to you watching the movie. So I love that you're standing up here and going, oh, well, if you want an informed opinion, this is what you got to do. Yeah, I would say that's true for most things, but clearly not for your business model. Let's continue.
Won't have an informed opinion on the film. You won't have an informed opinion on why people may or may not like it. Knowledge is power, particularly to content creators. If you're going to cover this stuff and be a little drive-by, as Ryan brought up earlier, the political commentators or algorithm writers, one of my pet peeves is so many people go, I didn't watch the film. Well, how in the fuck would you know? How would you know? How would you know what people, you could say, well, people think this way. Well, you're going off an internet consensus by these same people will tell you the internet's not real, which, you know, it isn't.
Okay, so here we are again with some dumb shit. So if the internet isn't real, if all of it is fake, because you just said it's not real, then that would mean the trailer dislikes aren't real. Ratios on Twitter and YouTube aren't real. The comment section where you love to go to and read comments from people, Twitter, places like that, not real. Rotten Tomato movements are not real. IMDb scores are not real. So if the internet is not real, which is where all of your traffic comes from, then how can you speak on behalf of a fake thing? If the internet consensus comes from the fake internet, then that's not an argument you can use in a discussion. So here you are downplaying the actual platform that gives you the voice you have and pretending like it gives you no power. These are channels with millions of subscribers. None of that is real. The internet conversation isn't real. Like, I don't think the internet has the impact that people think it does. But if it doesn't, and it's not real, and these guys are admitting here that it's not real, then all of the stuff they use to prove their arguments comes from false evidence. Like, the internet is fake when they disagree with it or the internet disagrees with them, but it becomes the voice of the people, the will of the people, when it can support a thumbnail or a sensational title on a video. Awesome. Love it.
So, yeah, and we can be like, for those of us that did watch it, we all have different varying opinions on the same thing that we just watched.
That's not true.
You know what I mean?
That's not true. I'm going to pause there. That's not true. I've watched at least 7 or 8 reviews this week from people in your space. Everyone gave it a meh. Everyone said it was boring. They all said it was mid. They complained about the same characters. They complained about the same story elements. I've yet to see, other than the one outlier, which is Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, who isn't on the panel right now, and isn't on the panel consistently anymore from what I've been told. Other than his review of it, almost every single person in your space has had the same talking points. So that is not a true statement.
People's tastes are different. That's just the reality. But to your point, Gary, I am sick of that shit because you've got...
I mean, it is true. People's tastes are different, which is why whenever you guys complain about something being, that everyone hates it, it's not a real statement. It's not true. Even if I were to say that the vast majority of people love the Odyssey, not everyone loves the Odyssey, but the consensus, at least from what we know, based on every metric that we can look at, is that the Odyssey has been successful.
Some of these people, oftentimes they're the same ones who are like in the political space and they're click chasing. Yep. That's why they started talking about the Odyssey in the first place. And they were some of the ones who said it was going to fail. Now they're turning around and be like, this is really blown up in these people's faces. The only way to not do it is to not talk about it at all and never cover it. It's like, really? But, so what? Tell me what the difference is between, I don't know, The Acolyte being the most discussed thing by us for months. The Marvels being the most discussed thing for months. Mm-hmm. The amount of time we spent talking about Supergirl. All these things that are massive failures and flops.
Okay, so the funny thing about this is that you are admitting here that you were doing all of that prior to seeing those things. All of that stuff happened before any of those things either finished their season or the movies were out in theaters. Nobody serious is saying that every negative video automatically makes a movie successful. That's not a real argument. The argument is that outrage coverage can keep a movie culturally visible, especially when the movie has already had a strong start, strong brand, director like Nolan, audience curiosity, which we knew this because tickets were selling like a year ago. So the fact that negative coverage did not save the Marvels does not mean that your negative coverage had no role in keeping the Odyssey in the conversation.
Did we help those? Did we make those successful? Is that what we did? No, because this is not in 1950. The all press is good press thing is an archaic way of looking at shit. All press is good press is something that mattered back when you had one local newspaper and like 2 fucking channels on television. Gary remembers those days.
I remember.
In the 24-hour news cycle with social media, with all this stuff, if everyone's talking about something and it's 95% negative, that is a horrifically bad thing for you. Why do you think these PR companies exist? Why do you think these PR companies are so desperate to shut down the criticism and artificially prop up different things? Because
Okay, so now negative coverage matters, right? So a minute ago, his defense was, we talked about the other things and they still failed. But now the argument is, if everyone is talking negatively, that is horrifically bad for the project. So Ryan, which one is it? Pick a standard. You want your content to seem powerful when a movie or a TV show flops or fails or underperforms. But then it's irrelevant when the movie succeeds. So you have a movie like The Odyssey that got the same application of flop watching and hate content prior to its release as Supergirl. I would even argue more than Supergirl, because some of you guys went on Piers Morgan and people started like Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro and other content creators have been talking about it, some more than others before it got released. So I would say it got even more than that. And it should. It's a Nolan film. It's a bigger movie in the conversation. But when it succeeds, then pre-content is irrelevant to it. That doesn't make any sense. It's a contradiction.
they know that. And I'm so sick of that take from absolute fucking retarded sucking piles of garbage.
Right. So slur, we have the R slur, anti-gay shit. Like it must be really frustrating to have lost so spectacularly and have to admit that you have no power in this place. Like you guys, you want to seem powerful when it suits you, but then you want to pretend like, oh, well, what we do doesn't matter. What we're doing here, it's nothing. It doesn't mean anything. And our audience is all fake because the internet is fake, apparently. It must suck. And that's why you lash out the way you do.
Well there is also a contradiction, though, in you see a lot of people going, well, you have to go and see it to do it. And then they'll also use the box office success as proof that it's a good movie. And so I think that's where you get that response from, is it saying, well, you are helping them because they're going to use this argument against you. And the far better tactic is to destroy that argument in the first place, that obviously box office success has nothing to do with whether something's a good movie or not. It doesn't.
What? Box office success has nothing to do with whether it's a good movie or not? That is quite literally the brand of, like, from what I can see, 50% of the people on this panel is that the box office is the thing you go after. Maybe you have more to say. Let's see.
Doesn't even mean that people liked it, because you have to see it to decide whether you like it in the first place, which is where we have franchises now. Marvel was destroyed over time.
Well, please explain this to me. You have to see it to decide if you don't like it. You guys build brands on rejecting things based on patterns of behavior, pattern recognition, patterns of quality, right? This is your brand. This is why things like Supergirl underperforms, according to you guys, is that people don't want to see it anymore. That what James Gunn is doing isn't working. And therefore, they don't have to see Supergirl to decide that they don't like it. That's where we were when Supergirl didn't perform well. But now the argument is you have to see something and then you get to decide whether you like it or you don't like it. I don't understand how the switch up can happen and you guys can sit here like serious people at this point. I really don't understand. I would say the Odyssey has broken you guys. It really has broken you guys. This was a big one. I don't think I was underselling it last week when I made my video after the weekend the Odyssey came out and I said that these guys lost. The way they're acting here is like sore losers. This is a panel of sore losers that promised their audience something that they were unable to deliver on, which is another flop. They've been putting so much time and energy in this movie. And to be quite honest, when we watched that Ben Shapiro clip and he was saying that we shouldn't be doing this because it's not useful, I agree with that. I think that what you guys probably should do is be a bit more careful about when you're like covering these movies the way you do before they get released. You should be more careful because you got careless. You got careless on this one. You got overconfident. You got cocky. You thought y'all were the shit and you're not. Let's see where he goes.
But you will see with Spider-Man, it's going to make a load of money, and you won't see the same articles about this proves go woke, go broke is nonsense and everything. And so even they pick and choose the thing.
Yeah.
You will find they don't have principles, they have goals, and so they will.
Oh, okay. So I want to say this now that he's finished his point, I think, is I agree with part of the statement. Box office success, to me, doesn't automatically mean a movie is good, just like box office failure doesn't mean a movie is bad. But if you look at these guys and the way they talk about this, if box office success doesn't prove quality, then box office failure doesn't automatically prove rejection, whether it be from fans or ideology or any of the things that these guys talk about. It's a complete disconnect from the argument that they make. So like when Supergirl failed, they would say the audience rejected woke DEI girl boss. This is what they said. Go watch their videos. This is not me putting words in their mouth. This is what they said. But when the Odyssey succeeds, as it has been, suddenly the box office doesn't prove anything. So that's not really an analysis-based way of approaching any of this. Again, it's flop watching and then like outcome shopping at the end, deciding which outcome you want to buy based on who you're speaking to. And then he goes, they don't have principles, they have goals. That might be the most projected thing that I've heard so far in this clip. That's what you guys have. You're already saying that your belief in this ideology that Hollywood is pushing out, which you guys have made videos after videos after videos about this. Critical Drinkers, The Message. If these things are as bad as you say they are, then you should be holding some sort of standard for yourself that you're not going to go see these things and you're not going to give Hollywood any more of your money because it's something bigger than just entertainment you don't like. But once you've conceded that it's a movie, it's just a movie, you can go out and decide whether you like it or not, then you have also conceded that it's not actually dangerous and it's not an ideology that can affect people because you're telling people to go watch it and make up their own mind and make their own informed opinion about it. So the entire narrative breaks down with this video. We still got more. Let's continue.
Say one argument for one thing and one argument, whichever gives them the strongest opinion is what they do. So I wouldn't really concern yourself with what they say.
No,
yeah, and ironically, some of the people I've seen saying something like that, some of the people I've seen saying stuff like that have spent plenty of time doing exactly that, except when something doesn't fit their narrative and they're trying to take shots. That's fucking weird, isn't it? That's fucking wild. That's fucking strange.
Crazy.
It's almost like these people have absolutely no fucking principles and are dumb, retarded piles of shit.
Weird how they don't have thoughts in place.
He's really mad, guys. Like he has an anger problem. Honestly, I can just watching this clip. Something's wrong. Like, calm the fuck down, bro. Is it really that serious? I mean, if box office conversation makes you this upset, you might want to talk to a therapist or something.
They just have the message.
Yep.
Well, I just think it's fun to address one.
So wait. So again, it's a message. So here we are again. We cycled, like I couldn't have predicted this. We cycled back to the concept that this is an ideology that Hollywood is pushing. But at the beginning of this video, you act like it's just entertainment and people can decide whether they want to watch it or not, you know, with their own personal feelings and whatnot. Is it dangerous? Is it a slippery slope or is it not? Is it entertainment or is it indoctrination? Which one is it? Pick a lane.
A while, because when they point that out and they're so ill-informed, talking about content creators here, it's just fun to poke that a little bit.
It's funny to look at too, because it's like, how do you think that's going to work with like your credibility going down the line? You know what I mean? Whereas like you're talking about a movie, you're talking about like how it's performing and all these other things, and you know nothing about it because you haven't watched it, you haven't listened about it, you're just looking at shit online, and it's like, I can't take you seriously. Like,
What?
I would rather listen to somebody that at least watched something or read something or listened to something and they know what they're talking about than somebody who's just parroting shit that you see online. Because then it just...
Wait a minute. Are you being for real? Who is this person? Kada? I've never seen this guy before in my life. Maybe I should check his channel out if he's got a channel on YouTube and see what's going on. But you're sitting with a group of people that spent months front-loading outrage for this movie and for Supergirl and every other movie they've ever attacked. Yes, of course, credibility does matter. Yes, watching the thing matters. But just parroting talking points is weak, which, by the way, are the people sitting with you right now and the audience members of these channels. You need to apply that standard to the flop watching Odyssey outrage, because that's what happened. There are months of videos by any content creator on this channel that is in this space. We talk about Nerdrotic, Ryan Cannell, Shad, Disparu, like you can, and maybe Fake Wizard. I haven't looked at his channel, but there's like a good chunk of the people on this panel spent months giving bad commentary based on red carpets and interviews. And you're saying that like talking about something you haven't seen questions your credibility? Bro, yes. Now apply that to everyone on the panel. Holy shit.
The whole point. I don't need to listen to you at all.
That's the whole point of sharing your thoughts on something.
Yeah.
Is if you've watched it.
Oh my God. It's almost like that's what I've been asking for and everyone else has been asking for from you dumb fuck channels. Watch the thing first, then give your opinions on it. Don't get mad that a black person is in something, or a trans person, or a gay person, or a woman as a lead character before you've seen the thing. Because it makes you look really stupid when it's well received, and it's probably going to break records like the Odyssey has been doing when you're absolutely fucking wrong. This movie has exposed you guys like a nerve. It's exposed like a nerve that's sitting there and you could just poke at it and poke at it and poke at it because it's so fucking easy. And you're so irritated. All of these guys are so angry this movie performs well. They're so angry it's performing well. It had a great opening weekend. They're so mad about it.
Otherwise, it's meaningless.
And how many times has like something come out where it's like, man, I don't think I'm gonna like this, and then you watch it, you're like, you know what? I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many times does that happen to the people on this panel? Oh, almost never. Almost never. It like you're talking like these guys change their minds all the time about movies. That's not the way it works. They're not even doing it right now with the Odyssey. You're sitting on a panel with people who didn't even do it this time. But okay, go off.
I didn't think I would like Thunderbolts. I kind of like Thunderbolts. I won't say it's a great movie, but I didn't walk out like this is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm like, oh, that was okay. Fantastic Four. I'm like, oh, that was fine. You know, it's not like the worst thing ever. And then if I didn't watch it, I just went, well, I don't like it because Pedro Pascal is in it. How can you take me seriously? I don't even know what I'm.
Exactly. So if someone says I don't like this movie because Pedro Pascal is in it, that is not a serious review. Just like saying that the movie is going to suck because of Lupita. The movie is going to suck because of Elliot Page. Why didn't that logic vanish when the cast member was announced as Elliot Page? Why didn't it vanish when Lupita was announced as part of the cast? So this panelist understands the stupidity, the sheer stupidity of judging a movie by a cast member when the cast member is Pedro Pascal, according to him, but completely forgets about this when the cast member is a black person, a black woman, a trans person, because it doesn't feed into the culture war panic. Which, by the way, I also want to point out, maybe not people on this channel, I'm not for sure, but there are people in the space that also attacked Fantastic Four because of Pedro Pascal. I'm looking at you, Jester Bell.
Talking about.
I mean,
there's another layer to that too.
Play out. Oh, you go.
There's another layer to that too. I won't walk out of movies. Although this year, with everything we've been seeing, there's a lot of stuff that it would be really satisfying to just leave and save your hours, right? But
Right. Except you guys are arguing against that right now. So I'm assuming when I hit play, you're going to say, but that's why I stuck around for credibility. Maybe that's what you're going to say.
No, we have to stay through the whole movie because otherwise we can't give an informed opinion on it.
Disclosure day.
Again, you don't need to give an informed opinion. Your audience doesn't need that. Like, they're not watching you for that. Your audience just wants to be reaffirmed, which is why when Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers actually said that he liked the Odyssey, at least the last time I heard him talking about it, he might have changed his opinion by now, the audience rejected that and didn't want to hear him say that because they don't care if you have an informed opinion. Ultimately, it doesn't matter to them. It's the pre-outrage cycle and then the flop watching afterwards. That's what the audience wants. You guys pre-flop watch and then they flop watch afterwards so you can affirm them in everything that you have told them was going to happen. This movie is like edging somebody and then not getting them off. That's essentially what happened. You spent months working this up in your audience and then it didn't happen.
I wanted to walk out of Disclosure Day.
I wanted to walk out of Supergirl.
That was rough.
It's a G.I. Joe movie I wanted to walk out of years ago.
I don't think these people just have thought about it that much at all, because you get these comments saying, well, you supported it because you bought a ticket, right? And like, hang on, you think I'm supporting it when with my review of Supergirl, revealing how utterly crap that film is, convincing however many hundreds of people out of the thousands that watch my content to not watch it. And so do the math. One ticket then robs them of 100 more, maybe even 1,000 tickets if the movie gets big enough. Tickets. So, like, do you think we're supporting the film when we expose it for being crap? But they.
Oh, so there it is. There it is, Shad. I appreciate this. So your content is not just a harmless opinion floating out there into the void of the internet that apparently isn't real. Shad is saying here that his content matters enough to cost the movie hundreds of tickets. I guess maybe it's true. Maybe he's got hundreds of people that watch him that decided they didn't want to go see the movie because of him. However, you guys don't want the criticism when people are saying you're flop watching, poisoning the well, astroturfing, building a pre-release outrage cycle. You don't want that criticism, but you're admitting that the goal is that you'll go see the movie, right? You'll buy your ticket, and that might cost the movie that you're watching hundreds of tickets in sales. But you're not taking responsibility for being a part of the outrage cycle at all. None. There's no agenda here at all. Your agenda isn't to go to a movie and ruin the sales of the movie, is it? So your content matters enough to rob a movie of hundreds of tickets, but not enough to be criticized as part of the outrage campaign. Interesting. Let's continue.
It's like I can't do the basic math. And there's like, no. And if they really want everyone on our side of, this discussion to not review these films, to not go see them, so therefore they get to control the narrative and gaslight people and convince them that utter asinine crap like Supergirl, and I'm going to throw the Odyssey in there as well because I think it's crap, right, is 10 out of 10 masterpiece. It's like you're just wanting to let them control the entire discussion. You wanted to give up. That is one of the most retarded takes in the world.
There needs to be
Another R slur, which, by the way, it doesn't matter if I've already established this. It doesn't matter if you see the movie. Like, it really doesn't. You don't have to. You can just tell people it's bad and they won't go and see it. Like, your viewers, your followers that are just listening to you, they don't care. They don't give a shit. The movie requirement it's irrelevant, honestly. But this is why I keep saying flop watching is not just box office prediction. I've had people in my comment section saying, oh, well, they've never said it's going to absolutely fail. And my response is, it doesn't matter if they think it's going to fail. They want it to fail. They want to be the ones controlling the conversation. Shad is admitting it here. It's a narrative warfare, culture war bullshit. He's saying here openly, with his full chest, that the point of their content is to create a counter narrative. So it's not about neutral film criticism or just giving your take. It's them fighting over what a movie is allowed to be in the zeitgeist, what a movie is supposed to mean. So that's what it is for them. It's a movement. Remember earlier when they were talking about like what it is? When Disparu said they don't have principles, they have goals. Here you go. Here you go.
Our narrative.
This-
That's important.
This is right.
This argument doesn't come
Don't
from
want
the
to
other
discuss
side. The other
They want
side,
silence.
they have their arguments or whatever. This is what bothers me is the argument that comes from our side that goes, well, why do you watch it? Because that is my lot in life.
It
I
is
like
a,
it.
it is
Well,
a
it's a
purpose.
similar
That is my lot in
argument,
life.
Garrett. It's a very similar argument.
Well,
doing it
okay.
on purpose, and like you just said, we say our piece. We then let you take that information and make your decision. And if I don't like something, and I tell people, hey, I think this is trash because X, Y, Z, they'll take that information and go, well, I'm not going to buy a
Well,
ticket.
some of us
And
have been doing this all our fucking lives. Okay.
Yeah, I
I've
mean,
been watching
offline as well,
shit
yeah.
and ripping on shit in my before a YouTube channel, and it would just be me and my friends going to a Denny's and ripping the shit out of the movie or ripping it
That's not
inside
the same
movie.
thing as this.
And it
That's
was
not the
fun.
same thing.
Yeah.
That's how we have fun.
It's like I do something because I love it, and that also is a benefit to people because they get that information and they
But-
trust me for whatever, and they trust all of us
Just
for all of our
Disparu-
different
Disparu
opinions.
said it earlier with the Paul Tassi thing. Why don't you just lie? Or why don't you, just stop
Exactly.
and go away?
Yeah, that's
what
exactly
they
it. They
did.
want,
I
they
heard
want
that
us
so much.
silenced,
Just
which
so
is why they
talk
say if
about
you
the
have nothing
audio.
nice to
They want you silenced. Y'all are such martyrs. Thank you so much for sacrificing your time to flop watch movies. We appreciate it so much. It means so much to the fans. Look, nobody is silencing you by pushing back and pointing out that your standards are inconsistent. It's not cancel culture. It's none of those things. You review movies. Other people get to review your reviews. Other people get to talk about you guys talking about stuff, right? Being criticized is not being silenced. And I really have to make that very clear. Imagine people that negatively review content, whether honest or not, getting mad that they're getting negatively reviewed. Imagine that.
say about it, don't say anything. And then you have the other side saying, well, why are you supporting it? It's like, well, we're not. We're reviewing it. We're telling people what our opinion is on this piece of entertainment.
And this is the 50th time this gets brought up over and over again. And then, somebody will bring it up like they're the first person who brought it up. And it's you're not. So
It's like the whole Rotten Tomatoes thing.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
We have known that Rotten Tomatoes has been different since 2019. And
Captain
we've been
Marvel.
talking about that for 7 years. We know they changed the way they do their verified reviews. We
Some
know
of us
all
made
these
videos
things.
at the time.
Yeah,
when it
like
happened. Yeah.
So why do you still use it then? Why? I can go back from 2019 till now and find video after video after video of you guys using Rotten Tomatoes scores to prove that a movie is bad because of a low score, whether it be critics or fans. So if here you're admitting that Rotten Tomatoes doesn't work and that it's been compromised, then why are you using it as a metric of quality? Or for any tool at all? It's like if you have a broken screwdriver, you don't keep using the screwdriver when it's broken. So if Rotten Tomatoes is broken, stop using it.
We know this, and that's why you have to look at these things in a certain light. What used to be if you got an 89% on the audience score for Rotten Tomatoes, it probably meant that thing's a fucking banger, right? Now that's a little different. At 89% nowadays, based on the way they do it, based on the way they collect the data, that's probably like a mid movie. That's probably like a 50% movie.
Oh,
and
okay.
we've known
Got it.
that. We've talked about
This is cope. I don't care if you've talked about it before. This is cope. This is you just getting mad that you don't have a website you can point to and go, look, these scores prove whatever it is that I'm saying. That's all this is. Which, by the way, didn't Geeks and Gamers partner with some knockoff Rotten Tomatoes? I don't think you guys are even. What was it called? It was some ranking site, but you guys don't really use it. So I'm guessing it's not been beneficial to you.
it. We've talked about it here. And I think maybe just because this is just such a big cultural, like so many different people are paying attention to it. You have people who aren't familiar with the entertainment industry who are finding out for the first time. There's been a lot of stuff about the Rotten Tomatoes site. I got issues with that real score as well, because
you do.
you're removing thousands of scores of people who did see it. Yes, low effort reviews. Did you like it or not? Rate it really quickly.
Well, you're talking about the verifying that you went to see the movie. You don't know that people who are putting scores in without proof of purchase saw the movie. This is just totally dumb. This is totally dumb. You have no proof of that. The reason why that exists is because they were seeing an influx of traffic of people coming in, copy and pasting bad reviews, and reviewing the wrong things. By having a verification system, it also makes sure that people don't review the wrong movie, a movie that might have the same title that came out in different years, things like that. So there's a reason why they want people verified to review. But I also want to point out, I don't think of Rotten Tomatoes as like some gold standard either. But I also don't use Rotten Tomatoes in culture war stuff. I might talk about it on a live stream just to sort of get a snapshot of what some people are saying about it, especially critics, because you can find all the critics' comments there. But outside of that, I'm not putting Rotten Tomatoes in thumbnails and going, this means the movie is amazing. No, that doesn't mean anything to me. You guys still use it all the time, but here you're admitting that you don't trust it.
But look, when Fandango bought Rotten Tomatoes, it stopped being about a pure test for the audience, because Fandango, shocker, wants people to buy tickets through their app. And they realize that if movies are getting bombed, like validly so, that's maybe not the best way to convince people to go see it. So they have been.
So there's no bad reviews anymore on Rotten Tomatoes. If I go to Rotten Tomatoes now, am I going to find movies that are not verified rotten? Oh, of course I will find movies that are verified rotten. So why on earth would they not just make every movie at least a positive, like a 60%, if they have the ability to do that? If they have the ability to just manipulate scores, just make everything 60%. And if you're saying that they can't do that because they get exposed, then you're already destroying your entire narrative that they manipulate scores. Because then your argument would be, well, if a bunch of critics don't like it, then there's no way for them to give it a positive score. Right. Just like if a bunch of critics like it, there would be no way to manipulate it. Thus meaning there would be accountability based on the critic reviews that you can read on Rotten Tomatoes.
Been doing this. They have been curating it like this since 2019. And it's not anything new. And it's something we know about and talk about. That's why you just have to.
All right. So this is just more of the same bullshit, right? So every metric becomes fake the second it stops helping them. Every one, all of them. Critic scores, fan scores, box office numbers apparently don't mean anything. Like to them, now they're saying it doesn't mean success. It doesn't mean failure. By the way, keep that in mind for every other movie that comes out after this. The next time they go on stream and go, well, look at the box office. This proves that no one likes this movie. They're here admitting that that's not the case. The box office doesn't determine that. They're saying that in this video. That's why I said this video is a gold mine. It's them rejecting every metric that they typically use because it doesn't agree with them. Critics would end up paid, audience scores inflated, box office is brand loyalty, cinema score is all normies, even though they're the most dedicated people going out the first night of release. IMDb is manipulated, I guess. Streaming numbers must be fake. At some point, the amount of evidence is not the issue. It's what they want the outcome to be. It's what they want their narrative to be. It's pretty obvious here that's what's happening.
Take it with a grain of salt and context when you're talking about these scores.
Again, I don't like Rotten Tomatoes, but I'm not the one using
out
the
there.
culture
There's
war.
Metacritic. There's IMDb, but that's still owned by Amazon, and they remove reviews. They did it for the Rings of Power.
Again, like I said a second ago, IMDb obviously is manipulated and fake.
So
in real time.
Fandango and Rotten Tomatoes. So Fandango bought Rotten Tomatoes in 2016. At that point, it was owned by Warner Brothers when that happened. And then I think Comcast also owns a share.
Yes.
So at one point, Disney may have been involved in something. So you got multiple studios. Yeah. Disney's the one that gets the best benefit from Rotten Tomatoes. They're the ones that have the biggest, the biggest discrepancy for all of these things. But it's because Fandango wants to sell tickets, period.
What's
the cope in this video is crazy. I'm actually seeing like more cope from this movie than I expected, especially on places like Twitter and Reddit. The cope is insane. It's just it's delicious actually.
That's what they want to do
for Supergirl.
I think it was
wasn't
pretty
as
high.
bad
It
as
was
you
like
think.
it was like 80s, right?
It was like
in the 80s.
79,
Yeah.
which is like a 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yes. And the audience score for the Marvels, I think, was 70.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I
Supergirl
remember-
was 74.
Supergirl's, yeah,
so
74.
TV is not. You don't have to go through the same flaming hoops to review TV. And I remember, I'll never forget this day when Doctor Who hit zero on the audience score. It crawled up to 13%, but it was at zero for a little while, and I was made sure to fucking screen cap that. Like, yes. So like, and yes, things get review bombed on both sides because when it's a lot easier. But we discussed it a couple of weeks ago. There are, and this is not a surprise to anybody. It's just they're not being quiet. They're not making a secret of it anymore. There are companies that hire people to upvote, to make videos that look totally viral. And they're hiring these people off Reddit, right? And they're offering them, they put like $5,000 into it. And it's
Discord,
what?
Reddit.
From their perspective, makes a lot of sense. It does, because they have a lot riding on this. And sometimes if you get a viral video, then your $5,000 got paid for big time.
It also boosts.
So essentially, you're mad that they're doing like positive PR and marketing for their movies and TV shows, right? That's what you're mad about. Now, I'm not saying that some of the fan excitement is like that it can't be artificial, that marketing can't be artificial, right? Obviously. But then if you're going to argue that, then you would also have to agree that there could be manufactured outrage. If one thing exists, then the other thing exists, because it can be manipulated. You're arguing that the cycle, the news cycle, the algorithm can be manipulated, whether by people getting paid, by ideology, by communities that are trying to change things. If all these things can be manipulated, then all sides can be doing it. And it's not a big shocker that a studio is paying for positive affirmations for their products. But I don't care about that stuff. That type of marketing doesn't matter to me. It's not a big deal to me. But you guys care a lot about it.
The algorithm, because the algorithm is suddenly sees thousands of people posting videos about the same topic, and it's like, oh, this is a viral moment. I'll send it out to even more people. And then,
but I thought the internet isn't real. At the beginning of this video, you said the internet isn't real. It's not real life. So why are we complaining about positive marketing for a movie if the internet doesn't move the needle in real life? I don't understand how one thing is a problem, but the other isn't. So positive marketing, curated marketing for a movie or TV show, upvotes, manipulation of scores, all of those things are detrimental because they're not real and they're manufactured. But you have no problem with all of the outrage prior to movies and TV shows coming out because that's not real. Those things don't matter. They don't move the needle. Except when a movie like Supergirl fails, and then all of a sudden it's because of all of the public outcry on the internet. They can't even keep their grift together.
Suddenly, the next thing you know, this movie is everywhere out of nowhere, and it is just all driven by clippers. It's why you see certain streamers pop up over and over again all the time. And like, I've never clicked anything on this person, but it's because the algorithm just forces it on everyone.
For
guys,
Rotten
like you guys.
Tomatoes, when it matters to me, the number, right? Because when we bring it up every once in a while, Rotten Tomatoes inflates their numbers for shit that they love, right? They want Hollywood. It's a Hollywood side, so it's their field.
Okay.
When we see a movie that is not doing very well in their field, in their fluffed up area, that's when I think the number is important, at least to me, when I go, okay, even in your own wheelhouse, it's not doing very well.
Okay, so this is really interesting. Such hypocrisy, right? So Garrett here is saying is that the number is the most useful when it can be used against the movie or the TV show, right? It's the most useful when they can manipulate it and use it as a gotcha. So Rotten Tomatoes is, according to, I guess, Ryan and other people in this panel, unreliable when it helps the movie or TV show, but revealing when it hurts the movie. Then it can be used as a metric, right? Again, this is just them creating a narrative. That's all this is. And they're admitting that they will use Rotten Tomato when it is something that they find useful in the culture war, but they will ignore it when it doesn't suit their agenda.
By contrast, I think is
going
But
back
nowadays,
to
those
and
numbers
it's
are
why-
meaningless.
and it's one of the reasons, again, why we don't see the same, why we haven't seen the same protections instituted for streaming things, right? Because Fandango ain't selling shit for streaming.
Yep,
They're
they don't
selling
care.
tickets,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Like that's why you don't have the same verified stuff
happy
yet,
if you shit
although
on
that
a
might be
streaming
coming
movie.
at some point.
Yeah.
A little bit of a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, you want to look
All of
at
it is.
like you want to look at the differences when you remove a bunch of people who actually went and saw the movie, like for that real score. Look at Melania, right? Which that had like a 98% audience score up on Rotten Tomatoes right now. If you use the real score, that drops down to like a 23%, right? So these things where you're
What is this weird Ryan math we got going on? This bro math? Is it incel math? What is this? It's dumb as fuck.
taken away a lot of reviews of people that did see it,
Goes
regardless of
both
whether
ways.
it's low effort or not. It
Yeah.
it can fluctuate a lot of different
Yeah.
movies.
Yes,
It's
it
interesting
can.
data, but it really doesn't say much.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like it's
like a data
interesting
point
to
that
know,
Yeah.
but
Again, keep in mind with this video, if they continue to use Rotten Tomatoes, no, just like Garrett says here, is that it only really suits their narrative because they find it interesting when it creates the illusion of success, I guess. But then they'll ignore it when it goes against what they've said about a movie or TV show. So remember that if they use Rotten Tomatoes in the future.
Yeah, so like Superman, not Superman's James Gunn, not a cultural phenomenon. The Odyssey is.
Oh, so you guys flop watched a cultural phenomenon. Y'all picked the wrong battle. Y'all picked the wrong fucking battle. You tried to turn the Odyssey into some like huge warning sign about wokeness, DEI hiring, award show stuff. You tried to use it in every way you possibly could to drive home the get woke, go broke. Attacking Lapita for months, attacking Elliot for months, and all the Odyssey became for you guys after you flop watched it was a receipt of failure. It is a receipt of your failure. And now you can't do anything about it. And all of us have the receipts. We have them now. Everything you said about it was wrong. Everything. And now it looks like this weekend, the early numbers say it's going to do like 83, 80, 84 this weekend, which puts it on the road to $1 billion. Some analysts are saying like 1.3. Y'all picked the wrong movie.
It just is.
This is-
And but that Superman narrative was I'm very happy it's been blown apart. Right now, what's Supergirl's box office? Last time I checked, it was 121 million.
Oh, we're back to this. We're back to this now. We're deflecting back to Supergirl, right? We're going back to that because you lost on Odyssey.
123.
So we're back to doing it in the same fucking conversation. We're back to using the box office as a metric of quality. Already, it hasn't even been 20 minutes yet in this video.
Updated it after this morning, it would be 123 and
God
7.
damn.
So
Especially now with going on VOD. It's not making much
for
So bad movie, right? Bad. They're all laughing. It just goes back to that. It's fucking crazy. It's crazy, guys.
Forbes wrote an article like saying that Supergirl, it's going to be in my DC supercut that's coming out tomorrow now. That Supergirl is the worst performing DC movie since Catwoman. But since I'm amongst my inflation bros here, hail inflation bros, I just want to point out that the 80 something million that Catwoman made in 2004 actually is 149 million in today's money. So it has.
So how much was the inflation on the production budget of Catwoman? Because that's how you would determine whether or not it matters, right? So you take the inflated box office, then you would take the inflated production budget, and then you would do the math there to figure out how much money it lost or made between those two numbers. The same way you do with today's box office. You wouldn't just go, Catwoman's box office is higher, therefore it performed better based on inflation, which, by the way, using inflation is dumb. Don't use inflation. Today's markets base their money and their business on today's markets. They're not looking at an old movie from like 25 years ago and going, this is how we're going to decide our market based on this movie. That's not how they do it. It's a dumb, like, nobody in the business industry does it this way. It's just these guys because it's a narrative. But if you wanted to use this metric, you would take into account a lot of different factors, and then you would decide how much the movie made to see whether or not it was better or worse financially than Supergirl, which, by the way, Supergirl's still making money. So you can't even really determine that now. Like, you don't know for sure. Plus, there's ancillary stuff. It's a dumb argument.
Has not made as much money as
That is
Catwoman.
hilarious.
Yeah. Which is amazing.
Fucking
That's
hilarious.
That
Millions
is a
more
feat.
people went to go see Catwoman.
Sorry, Kata.
I mean, I would rather watch Catwoman than Supergirl. So
I would too.
Yes, more people went to the movies to see movies back when VOD didn't happen so quickly. When we didn't have streaming services with things on demand almost immediately. Shocking. I know culture's a little bit different now. It's a little bit different, but you guys really should like brush up on your outrage because it don't make sense.
Yeah,
it's hilarious. It's so funny. It's a funny
Catwoman also had a
movie.
massive budget for the time.
Yeah,
it did.
$100 million.
How much, and how much is that with inflation? How much is that with inflation? Are you going to mention that? I'm listening.
Oh,
in 2004 money.
Well, that may be closer to 200 million today.
Wow.
Sharon Stone as like.
Oh, right. So again, once you do that, once you factor in the inflated budget with the inflated box office, then it doesn't become this huge thing. Then you're like, oh yeah, it makes sense. That's why studios don't do that today. It's a stupid talking point.
Makeup executive, an evil makeup executive. That's fucking funny shit, man.
So
I need to watch it.
The basketball
Inflation Bros
scene.
Unite.
The basketball scene. Oh, that was like
basketball
the
scene is-
Daredevil scene.
I love it. It's so bad.
I miss early 2000s wacky movies, man.
Because they were bad and everybody knew they were
Yeah.
bad. And they didn't try to
Everything's
gaslight
bad
you
and-
and call you sexist because you didn't like it.
We're allowed to.
What? So first of all, you are validating and affirming that bad movies can still be entertaining. You're saying that here, which is crazy considering that the entire ecosystem that you exist in is bad movies don't deserve to be watched because they're bad. But you're here validating Catwoman. We've also reached the end of the video, so I want to touch here on the last thing that Kata said, which is that you can't criticize movies like this because we'll call you sexist or they'll call you sexist or whatever it was, something about being sexist. The issue isn't calling a bad movie a bad movie. I call movies bad all the time. They're movies that I don't like. I think all of us have done it at one point or another. The issue is when there's a pattern and a track record of flop watching and hating movies because women are in those movies. There's a pattern of behavior in that. So like with Supergirl, it was attacking Supergirl, Millie Alcock, all before the movie came out. With Odyssey, it was attacking Lupita, all before the movie came out. So it's just really funny to me that those types of arguments have to do with either objectifying women or suggesting that women are not good enough to be the lead of a movie. It's always that argument. And then if it's a black woman, you get the racism as well. So yes, there is a bit of sexism, misogynistic behavior, things like that exist in those kinds of reviews. You want to call a movie bad, call a movie bad. Go and see the movie and say you don't like the movie. I don't give a fuck about that. I think the average people out here would not give a fuck if you don't like a movie. You might argue a little bit about it, but nobody really gives a fuck. I'm not trying to twist anybody's arm. If you don't like the Odyssey, you don't like the Odyssey. That's why when I talk about these guys' reviews, I skip over their subjective takes of things because I don't care. If you don't like the soundtrack, you don't like the soundtrack. If you didn't like the lighting, you don't like the lighting. If you didn't like the story, fair enough, you didn't like the story. But there's a lot of really bad faith, narrative-driven, ideological talking points that exist in this space that are not part of the review. Shad talked about it here. He admitted it in this video, that it is a counter narrative specifically to push back against ideology and communities that you don't like because you don't want people to quote unquote control the narrative. So it's not really about reviewing a movie and being honest about it. It's about making sure that that counter narrative exists in the space so that one group doesn't control it. That's all it is. This video is a gold mine of cope and red flags, hypocrisy, double standards, admitting things that they probably shouldn't have admitted. This is a great video. We stay winning and they stay losing. It's wonderful.